Hey guys, I don't typically make this type of content, so if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below or come and ask me live on Twitch. First, let's get into the gear setup. I'm using the tier 90 power armor, which this can also be done in the tier 80 power armor. I also choose to use the salve amulet for the damage boost, the Book of Jaws, not because I think it's the best book, but because it's the best book I have on my Iron Man, and the Zuk Cape. The Zuk Cape is an important piece for this fight. It reduces the total adrenaline cost of death skulls from 100% down to 60%, and it causes death skulls to bounce to an additional 2 enemies. These are the best auras to help you through this fight. Majorad is my go-to, but Dark Magic and Vampirism are viable options as well. This is my inventory setup, but yours may vary greatly. I use an Elder Overload, a Super Prayer Renewal, and an Enhanced Replenishment Potion. I opt to bring 3 Cerebrews, Vulnerability Bombs, and the Enhanced Excalibur for the passive healing, as well as the Ancient Elven Shard for passive prayer gain. Ectoplasm to summon my Conjures, and Necromancy Runes for Split Soul or the use of Darkness. Familiars are a great asset in bossing. While learning, I suggest bringing a yak for extra food until you get the hang of the mechanics. Once confident enough, I recommend swapping to a Hellhound familiar for the 20% damage reduction. These are the recommended Archaeology Relics. Fury of the Small will help you generate more adrenaline from your basic abilities, while Heightened Senses lets you take advantage of having an extra 10% adrenaline. Conservation of Energy allows you to save 10% adrenaline after using an ultimate ability, and Berserker's Fury will help you deal more damage while at lower life points. I currently am running the Heightened Senses relic for the sake of this guide. As you can see, I have 110% adrenaline. To start the fight, I sip my Overload and Prayer Renewal, and I begin to summon my Conjures as I run into the encounter. As soon as I'm inside, I cast Command Vengeful Ghost and Command Skeleton Warrior. I immediately cast Devotion before the fight begins, as it won't take any adrenaline, and then I throw a Vulnerability Bomb and start my rotation. I start out the rotation by using Death Skulls, and then building my adrenaline back to 110% using Touch of Death, Soul Sap, and the Necromancy basic attack. The goal here is to not spend any adrenaline. Once at 110% adrenaline, I use Living Death, drink my Enhanced Replenishment Potion, and aim to use 3 Death Skulls on the duration of Living Death, while rotating through Soul Sap and Touch of Death to build residual souls and necrosis stacks.
Not far enough. Rise, my minions.
Right around the time that I'm using my last Death Skulls, I'm preparing for Rasial's Ghost Wall attack. I avoid this attack by using Bladed Dive to move out of the way while staying in range for my Death Skulls to continue bouncing. It's okay if you don't get this down the first time, you can always walk through the Ghost Wall as it's spawning to avoid taking damage. By this time, Rasial is generally close to launching his Volley of Souls attack, which is indicated by the filled circles under his HP bar. When all 5 of those circles are filled, he will launch Volley of Souls. This attack is mitigated through the use of Devotion or Debilitate. My Devotion was on cooldown, so I opted to use Debilitate here. Right after Volley of Souls, Rasial will summon a second Ghost Wall. We avoid this the same way as before with Bladed Dive. Soon after, Rasial will hit us with an attack that disables our Deflect Necromancy Prayer. I immediately turn back on my prayer and watch for the end of the Ghost Wall. Shortly after the Ghost Wall, Rasial will prepare to jump on you and use Spectral Sight. We avoid this mechanic entirely by anticipating before the jump and then moving away from him when he jumps. If you don't anticipate in time, Rasial will stun you and turn off your prayer. You will then need to use Freedom and bring your prayer back up before continuing the fight. Throughout the fight, it is important that we keep our Conjures alive and take advantage of Command Skeleton Warrior. You may also use Command Vengeful Ghost if we notice that we have plenty of adrenaline. Life Transfer Incantation is okay to use to extend your Conjures, but be careful. You'll need to be healthy in order to use it, as you will take significant damage from it. The goal before moving into the final phase, which starts at 200k HP, is to have all of your residual souls, 12 necrosis stacks, and high adrenaline. When phase 4 starts, we are going to swap to our Soul Split Prayer, use a Vulnerability Bomb, and cast the Split Soul Incantation.
No more games.
While dodging ground attacks, we want to use all of our high damage abilities, starting out with Death Skulls while making sure to stick close to Rasial to maintain the Death Skulls bounce. Then use Volley of Souls, followed by Finger of Death twice, and wrapping the combo up with our weapon special attack, Death Grasp. If Rasial isn't dead yet, continue to dodge the attacks on the ground while using Soul Sap and Touch of Death to build stacks for Volley of Souls and Finger of Death until Rasial is dead.